Diregal Southern Hotel Teal Mosus Raibadul Maraklay Marbugul Belau Pilung Ebi Reklay Marmasil Belau President Paules Marugul Senators Speaker Ganay Marugul Delegates Diregal Chief Justice Ngiraigalau Mar Justices Mar Bekel Governors Speakers Lators Tugubets and more other Belau El Ngarang Ayang Al Muraho Charigi Mangara Ikrela Blue Belau Al Sils Diregal Southern Hotel Teal recognize was a tuta Minister of Justice Olgril, Minister MPII Obiang, Triangartia Minister MHRCTD Matul, Ambassador Regidar Marar, Roland Marar, Ambassador of Australia, Madiregal Chief of Staff. Kita mal mereka sudah ada media lom kita leal tutau. Mal soal mutial teal mereka sudah la Mr. Diaz, Diaz Broadcasting, Mr. Claire Island Times, Miss Rengi Yabelau, Miss Tulabel TMC. Yes, I forgot about TMC. Yo, kita mal full house rela. Rogun media ngartiang pada mereka sudah ngartiang leng. Allah media and they informed. We thank you for being here. Last press conference lagi the press conference mlaria omrole dan mora ablura Houston. Magdi kora di update lagi der sel omrole dan mora Houston se emle arranging adram regel emle mokte kani a help lagi dan mo understand the system aircraft registry. Wase kita matatang lagi sella ngara amdal olvira galulaw. Tukuning ngara amdala Senate el magatatal was the setup aircraft registry. You know, some of the things that we've learned over the years, shipping registry, maybe we can do things better. Maybe there's companies that can help you on this journey. So this other always was a meeting. We met several companies, mal willing and help Rablur Bela. Most importantly, the look model ligariya different than the shipping registry model. To say kung mabay so malego help build our local capacity. Eventually, hindi kami mo RTR registry. Tira say there's so much potential. Kasi abela we have to maximize ourselves reputation abela. Abela maral isel belu, klabokol belu. Ang asedro sing sedro mutial pristine, luxury, and all of these things together. And so we need to do a premium aircraft registry. Gora diulos per example was abela sell what we want to promote as a sell musel T sell symbol or aircraft bela T amrigela N. Sometimes aircraft rather than sorry ngaria N registry to say amrigel mulmul to kaya nemir amrigel mung hindi kalungil mung. Having a T is a more neutral partner, but most importantly, ngil image. So, for example, if you're a billionaire and you have a $70 million jet, you want to associate with maybe a more appropriate country. That's say a market that's other altogether. Ito umra lo saying cloteal, ani mang تدري قم لهلب رادر الله أريد المسائل إنسان سيرتيال جيدا مله proposing لا نعرف البيرة قالوا so hopefully كذا ونيتر أدرى سنة تونيتي نعرى سنة نسي المرأة الباسرين ماذا تريلين موريور. You know, we really wanna. Our goal is that by next year, and maybe we can have the first aircraft registered at Blue Bell. And it will eventually it can employ maybe 12 to 14 high-paid inspectors, aircraft pilots, and all of those are part of the operation. So, trigal best, the higher team trigal ex-military. So, it's another way for you to bring people home. You know, well, we need to find opportunities for them. So this will hopefully open up a new industry and help abalwad magdam nga sura abram legem help connect and hopefully lang di pasar alla and move to the next stage. Aklar say mora meeting ra Bluras Chabal, Selblel request ringi anggal Deputy Secretary of Interior, Bergam. Ngem Larsel, nge basically nge Chairman Sel Energy Dominance Committee President Trump. Matamlar sel ama sa rogul te alal ensure energy security. To sa lakat energy secure and dekat siya secure. Of course, and right now kita mga sa mga madra Iran is raging and mesa said impact the Strait of Hormuz. Matriga we're letting Asia know wase Alaska bulang mo bakasari sel help per kumira to karakasara. So they were signing agreements sa mga Asia to get them gas and also fuel. Kasi by $1 Alaska mamrigel $1 Middle East. So I think seluk osing na bulang sa how to be more energy secure. But the other thing diri kam leklol discussion or say atora nuclear. Mamrigel of course is promoting small modular reactors. I get basically about 300 megawatt power stations. They've signed a deal with Philippines, Lomo project per se. And then muna minis, muna akong balim na sa the mini nuclear reactors. You know, as I shared at one of the press conferences, Secretary of Energy Ramrigel, Noble area, one of the things that we have to change our thinking of us, the problem is nuclear makngit, waste and all of these things. But I say it's clean energy, stable, and you have to have a mix in renewables if you really want to transition. So imura kombalem larse was interesting that they share technology still. They basically for the military, etamrula power plant, basically wasay sira 120-foot container. Etiang produce 1 megawatt of power. And that 1 megawatt, the ding util container mora site, and operator to 1 megawatt for 20 years. Ete di mel swapri yung kung abesen. Ngal Secretary of Interior ase tigadra media di oger nangalo ase. Would you let your child or would you sleep beside the nuclear reactor? Mga sa na response na kan mura media wa, mal simple. Other nga submarine na al seals. About next to a nuclear reactor, 6 months down in the bottom of the ocean and mutel may masarablo. Ang aircraft carrier email telalat matabadal next in morangal reactor. Ay ga proven technology that been out there over 50 years. So kasi taman Marcelo say we have to expand our thinking and think about other solutions to get a clean energy future. So akti share sa and I think it's those reactors they were saying, I say 2027 the first 1 megawatt package will be out. The military is getting them, but it's something that we need to start thinking about today. Of course, would require a change. One of the things that aktilin mo ringel look adra kong balik kasi maybe will over Palau rapif because we talk about 100% renewable Pacific. Share other options that are out there, and we need to learn. We need to be educated so we can make informed decisions. When it comes to making decisions, we should be based on science and data. Di wasel do sadra atoro mga Mr. Diaz. Kada mnasubi lo ase a marine sanctuary protection is important. Right sizing, making sure that we optimize the use of our resources. So science has already told us, sell 50 miles in Berau, say protect that, and then beyond that, manage it. So of course, the Mira Adro Albil, and the Senate, must hopefully at the passing. Saying a committee of the whole a Senate, a Florida leader. Mariur, yes, Florida Mariur. So, napasay house mo anding ara Senate makado mangiretir mo hopefully siya din Maria del address. But these are things that we want to talk about a PIF. We want to talk about 100% renewable Pacific. We want to talk about our oceans and how we protect them and balance between protection and production. Dirigal sira tabi nga Rasyabal, mlani ate le del opener sel cyber security workshop, semlani ra sel obis ra MPII mlara nga airport, and you know close to travel nga say when we talk about cyber security, it's the whole of the government, but in dirigal bela rogi. Nga policies that we need to put in place to ensure that we're secure, that we're resilient to keep those threats out. You know, one of the things that we go say, they'll make sure that the standardized equipment travelment. For example, same computers, same operating systems, they're updated, taken care of. So those are ways to reduce our threats. Put more information in the cloud. They're stored and they're in a secure place so we can get up and running immediately. That's part of building resilience, but that also protects our economy. Friends Australia, ITU, they were here to help the conductor say World Bank. World Bank help the conductor say, and we are working on national cyber security strategy, which will launch soon, and maybe we'll take a time and help can share it with the public. We were saying launching yellow vessels ko United and Lamera Quam. Rather United am askari del mon qadi share our partnership with them. Most importantly, partnership with router either adrola ablura shabal mabelaw. As I say, it took many partners, and I think United I'm proud of it. It's an example of success how partners working together have been able to really deliver service that has exceeded expectations. And it really was about de-risking. And so we know, flight, immediately it doubled. And so it's been a win-win for all of us. Win for United, win el Meragel hotels, el Narablur Belauma, other tourists, they win in more public. It now gives us another connection and more revenue in Meso Isbra airport. And then on Friday, igida man lara ablu rairai ne say the local say have the groundbreaking sel Basel school. Sel Basel school the Basel school include a parking ma adiregal demolition or sel mood ma adiregal Basel cafeteria. Say mo kakaringa 5.6 million. Of course, we do the compact under the cell infrastructure manera compact. The manera sule la blue ramrigel and the umbrella was saying part raigel bleon tidel mora blue ramrigel cell skura ira se khot murobis principal mersa oiga motor ayer classroom as a president they are building a year dim through. Do you know 2021 and there was no money. Maktira man bringa sulela of course a negotiating team blel hedringia Minister Uduy one of the things el nirusel timara other amrigel me seral merbelao etingiti trin motor tara school bloringia school amalgayo seral bora school amalgayo ga tigra amrigel agalula radrongolir of course a Minister Jenkins ordering sertire tase atial school amal talmal tia mal nagada gil waise mang wase o yang amal merul adram rigel nang arte logar rak higamal mal waise but you know ngi yegel do migral do awulen no se el amrigel designated seludo del la infrastructure mela gadamla repair egal school mal repair and then there's بس سكورا إيراي بس سكورا سيل دس بدال more replaces سيل سكورا ملقيو of course أنا أدرى أنا نيسر عملا تبدأ أوتم مغدا موريول جيرل ملا ساتا planning and then next construction أمم مول جيرل سي ديريغل سادلو أيسرا سيرا ساندي إنجيل goodwill ambassador جيدا ميناكو تاناغا ما ديريغل سيل إنجيل president را ساساكاوا foundation ما جروب راكميد الدارت الأدرى نلغى الشابال ما parents التير عملير بيلاو التيا part سير كورا promote راسي we need to take care of the ocean we need to reduce the use of plastics and of course تغلي دي مويت so of course mal klabo la bela mutmra la mater bela gora di mra la meso sen diga gomi magi ngara akul amru le dia sa tamra se tial blu amra diga gomi ri makase dekhal I'm going to take you to a beach that mura gomi ma agim lora honeymoon beach magi ngar sel part trabaret te ko mar clean makoy ala bor sel diga private magim tour sel bita en to besa de lo sel gomi remind ri ose the reality kadangal tatring megal tokol producer ablur belau di matak tagal komir ablur adan me moit ablur belau and it's a real threat to us so we need to work together so kadam bring asulir triana ka school de se do mungya del mo bring asula Dr. Roberts el man will host provider will lunch and more trigal el salid will continue to promote so you know it's about sharing and promoting and keeping the oceans clean keeping plastic banning plastic, but at the same time in build their partnership with the Ramgirabla Shabal, Mgadamanga, Azule Lagod with Ambassador, Sasakawa Foundation, Madirigal, of course, Bloom, and all the partners, our ministers, Olgarilam, Obiang Ulbangadal Mom, the Mangasula, Teokoram whole of government effort and working together to demonstrate partnership. I'm Labes. ديريغل تريغل رغول امباسادورز ما ديريغل ملجو انرجيد شوينغ ناس ديغل ديل شابال امباسادور شابال ارسيا استراليا ما تايوان امنوسيل جو انرجيد showing us it's a global problem global issue that we need to work together on ديريغل سودرو ايسو اسيا first lady ديريغل ميرار سيل ساندي النيا وكم تيرجيد first lady ra ablu ramregela Melania Trump am invite our first ladies ra ablu lat or first gentlemen and mo and there's a summit ra Washington DC ra alsil ma eli in line with cyber security but more importantly how do we protect our children from online threats social media and then develop good policies. Kita digam sa Trump launcher sel saying AI policy ra blur amregal, and I think there's things that adirigal said saying mungil do sube adirigal implement ra blur bela. Munguk pleso al tegra uka First Lady Trump au pleso al tegra sel leader say when it comes to children, how do the children fit into all of this and how do we make sure that they're protected and have a secure future? So hopefully I'll make First Lady Muxel update the of course I think it's today at the White House and mo by First Lady sa White House kita ko diga katte the mong but anyway da pare mal basa nga makamatong okay lastly this you know we have challenges all the time especially Ministry of Justice the minister ma so mutel te ale mal marenga asulela arbulis akmil strir tobra obiseng 6 o'clock at kaldi bramdar abla bulis el tira basically neural double shift el gidam de assembly escape amador matamlo ri got kulo rabel separir el secure amador el muten unme gidam de se we're working toward a new jail we have problems godira koloni tramedia lo hace ayer agora kit el post na social media bela kadola front page at bela Auktru la front page look bring us to Buddhist Ramring Lude. Akuradi share oiling untrue statements, post social media, the Malmela front page, but Akuradi has a give credit when credit is due. Dirigal last press conference minister manle wa bring la tingem lo say we're coming after you lo gira to radrax. This otherwise was say in the last month more than 100 grams of ice have been confiscated. Madaman bring asulera cooperation or other ablu working with police to share information. That's how we prevent it getting onto the street. So madaman asulera ministry ramling lurere. Dirigal المدير واسه ملاهم مرة يجيل وكل tax refund الالسيلس this week كده مرة يجيل وكم روسلا social assistance كده عندنا سين 2300 الآدم ملا يجيل أو 2300 الآدم لما يجيل benefits رتير as of yesterday equivalent to 1.3 million. Of course كده بدنا نسوي مسيرة بارينات ال 2003 كده السينيورز ما سبيشال مما يجل شغل كتير كده بدنا نسوي لاست السبسيديز الشايلد سبسيدي اللي كده وك ميرا رادرا Ministry of Health and Human Services المو confirm numbers and they'll be distributing that. 1,300 ang ilara Eli sell for stay in the first day 1,300 306 وتدخل الوضوء تنمبر على اوكي سوري كده ما سينا قدنا يجي نعرف كده celebrate intercession مقدمة سينا قدنا كده أو كان activities لورول عندي there also are champions for ensuring people to stay away from drugs. And so they've had many activities to not only promote the مربرة or spelam kitilgar, but also help them do positive activities that gets them away from them. Kada malmol malawli tertiro ase stay away from ayel malmal abdanged mortu ayel ungil galar alsel abdangiu. Okay. Treat your body, as the Bible says, as the templora a Dios to again gitralse. Imran bring asura the have stepped up and talked about drugs and talking about how we can work together. So aktimok wigayid namo maskilate la radra media mo gira question and a question of our minister sa tangatel dire katsili long suna. Oh, yes, okay. Mr. Diaz.
Ito tayo, Mr. President, I have a list of questions. Hindi mo ding makasali ko sa gilelanin news marto kakalin direct. To be fair, mali mo ask a few questions. President Aralalu Adimral Morba, according to Trump, and was a temporary. Tamim Sodil was a temporary. How long it's going to be? Aralalu at the gas ilom legal SUV active. O Tamalabu, sorry, local was ang lao o ang araklo motel take the price of gasoline in Lamorba.
Yeah, I think to tell one thing that we need to understand we cannot control our price. Yeah, based worldwide demand. And we've seen these spikes before. You go back to 2008, $145, and you go before that thing. So this will happen. Can we predict to asing momre karo ira? Amring kita predict. The oring sa Fox News and CNN ito sa tiyan makamada ngani kasing momre karamre. I guess one of the things that we need to understand as our only choice is to reduce our consumption of fuel. So that's why it's important to palasia that say how do we transition to more renewables. So I said rising in Bessel, Australia through that $15 million grant they gave us, they're giving us a Bessel battery by the end of April and more installed so that we can capture even more or sell solar. Help pergi dari arala dengi. Arala lu Agi dalam kalam magikarel mlay. Tiam le warning rabi fral ngas marato kam lam gikarem diri deng nguk trap palum kudu kom klom lit. Agi redel ngungil the saver melas mel saver bekel time. Abai close to trust. So what are other programs that help? Namanya bus system rigid. Bus system rigid ngari giros pe adeiser and hopefully by PIF mo giros pe adengi. So those are ways that we're trying to do to help other ablu. Marina ara lamlem parker set SUV ang ngari abas set orta.
Follow-up question. FSM own their own gasoline company. Kadamlat siya kalwa siya a system los peri FSM ngungil marala lungil marala ngaram they have to switch over el mar FSM system.
Diang maralway say kita dengan siya seral al mobile seral pull out temle proposal temle divest emle andap el blue bay ang sel share mobile rebelaw selungura FSM government FSM amit arar sel portion ra sila na madakal sebedele ording private ra kumbale ownery but I think dire kaliya na mo meselo say ngari atang kaliya dire FC go maybe mlamo time one of the options we should consider maybe having reserves maralu store atang sel ngari atang kaliya ngari FC go malboto. So these are things that we should think about for future. Kasi how do we help rauk palwadaleng we don't know kasi next emergency meron yun. Oy ngari am kamadara ay iran lang albori am kamadara sina ma ba amrigi. I mean these are challenges that we have. So we have to think strategically long term as how do we build resilience. But one way ulam rigi na malsorisel concept of nuclear for the military they don't have to worry about diesel transport and mora field the runner seliga gal nuclear kaldo 20 years lorta dengi. So these are challenges to change the way we do energy.
Sula, thank you.
Ngiltud ka, question nga kati amara Minister Obi ang olgaril I think President jadi so kalau kal update tel BSL facility tel BSL prison facility to kami expect to sa mo opener albuil so yeah kami update sil kal sa
Diam sulara agere me kita awul ka tamne set timeline ne start late last year murtel mere lang dia kado ang uwida alda do ulmorar adarablu malubet adal tira ongar uspera bla kalbus digde milas mal set timeline ne push kan traktor sa maurior mang legar dire kal ngari nga experience ri gidel ba sel nakamangal a time yar kan traktor ngari nga baby retirel mo dia kal nga clock clear in time ra outside na makarang otakli del telal buil aska extension mang mangal no passer ti aluro mang kardi milas mal seta timeline el di short etiang president omdasulwa sengira del di pusa galurior that's another way say del pusa kan traktor was al sumurele la erul buil klet sa miruli ra talbuil ma ringel la ubeng al sela talbuil bola kal sabel oy hindi posisiul time era adat adire kal blanca ni lo mesel was ngaringa progress ra galurior el logiwa gidem I hope ada dia kabol rarendil was gimera a press conference yung mula kara malubagi muida tokoera adarablu seng mombre kara February March dia katol degeta kay galuror magi setay ke pusa bola kal sebel agi di akmadingel waseng maldi meredo di telgi bukum de luror merko kota rogit tiang ladi telalbu ilam de merkon sebel rogit tiang luror agi askak loading ra rebeklat akmadingel was minister olgarila moral to kong na all pa tamam leng pia tira kal mal mlao baby ra al tu ul moringi dia kal lamaral wai se el tu inda kal tel melela minister malubet adlo rur tra bla kal bus maral ngaringi a cloud challenge sa abli la kal busir gitu agi adi sebegel leen ser kawa say ngarinya timeline el gible set malasam lo de kita kay gay bola kal mo tirakle arugul klalo da kal ngarbela material sa supplies and those pe kada import a baby
And I think something in the other sharing, Minister. Unfortunately, the design and Mirul Girilla Black Albus 2019 or whenever it was done was really deficient. Took up problems. Malakad ma Mruringi Minister, Abesan Minister among us. Tiang aram dim lakal mrur, tiang aram dim lakal mrur, tiang. Kita, of course, akadamle depend ra CIP, mamle ongara a jail cell time la sa anu daiga were addressed. Everything from awum loru lakal ringi ma. So visiting, so there was a lot of shortages that have been seen, so they're fixing them. The update was one team lagi mesal problem, namo problem, adengi. Adengi, we have the funding, so we put it out to bid. Elmo murura adengi elmora in January. Emla idea to sa kamamadi sa PUC sa LD 6 weeks and ruling. Well, dal tirak legal bid rakabalment to require the giril producer aban the giril. El diwa arbek kan tractor. E di sa amal waiver selling nla mulwaisi. So we've gone to the OEK on March 9 nakadam send a letter gidan mora speaker ma present Senate. Only tirtilo say we need amendment and morala allow a PUC the tell owner ya government 100%. Allow requirement the requirement and mora PUC ma igagidele PNCC electric provide a service in mergid a clocklet sell proposer tial el banding ngodol kong bali amruri assumo de kal finisheri ngodol de garte. We can also do the same thing and hold them accountable. But so if they had to get a bond, a problem, that's just like getting a loan. So it would require PPUC to get clearance from the board. Doesn't make any sense. So we said, amend the law. So I'm requesting to get more bill. Hopefully, in session or April, and then after that, David, PUC is and then hopefully 6 weeks after that, installation. So that's probably the biggest hold up right now. Installation mang sulang roger ay maldimir olbil mal pa sa baksain. Okay. So
I mean, quick follow-up, President, Director, Minister Direk, diya ka sole source, also kumang diya ka ngot al ngarbela, also ba erulitil al luring, does he have to go to bid? Ako the questioner say, dahil to ko na ringi.
So damne tiya ong eru time in the open rabi deli. Ida amne hotel the open ring indim nakaadal. Mandi ako dingel waseng ara adal aulam da solo aset tiya ko PUC. Ingar alelay galuror mentira. Di PUC direkal segide. No mering retira to ara panding a performance fund akire mal puta 100% al bandara igal project. Meaning el waseng way selul ko nga president tayo ulang require al banda sellable ala kam brigira udor iser bela wal ubeng mo komna mo nga problem arkaw complete ra udor segi del banda pa do sparing il complete ay galudor mauulang kada requiring titiaw ngel time el david ebay no O sabi ila PPUC, magkadam ni open rin dire kal moral baby ra contractor.
Deka sel source deka issue. I issue a tiel requirement tra contractor say you require bonding. E tira deka sirule band. Lenguk mo require a guarantee. And then the guarantees have to come from the national government. Tiadi mo maliwak kalmi. So that's why we need to amend the law. Olbila, both houses, we've met with them, to understand. So hopefully, hindi mo rin adal. Ako ba sa kung printer sila rin naman mara newspaper, mga alsel, sulang.
An issue of PPUC, President ko follow up person may question na diyas. Tell was omunta so nga enough not enough. Aigel nga rin solar production energy production PPUC omunta sa sabiel increase to where and sabiel telgibel reduce uspa diesel mo riwa arala dengi anticipate to sa coming next billing session kalin salman mo papa arala dengi
Yeah, so the was first of all current level or adengi provide solar is like 20%. Hindi sel deka dos peril dengi makadiri kal hararing. Sel savings adiri kata salary license. Sel bolor el battery and then kadamran mo filler sell 14 cents, so it will and we will be generating at least 25% tra los peril PPUC. El dengi. So, answer the question. And I think one of the things that we've learned, the system, we've upgraded a transmission line. Now, think about next level, get the next renewables, and how do we do that?
So I get battery dollar Australia will be, you're saying, amo installed around August. Mula di ka to realize that April.
So hopefully by June I'm lama order. I hope. Gira di meta plug-in is that los PM.
And following up on that, dire ka ko energy cost sel budget 2020 sel original draft sel final draft Senate House lilgor ka am naring sel subsidy utilities ne 1.7 million if I'm not mistaken gamne reduce ringil mo 400 some thousand ngaring bill Senate 12-46 am napas mora house el restore sel malas me restore sige dal amount so onda sa el merkawan sa el mga mo help mitigate expense na dengi al ube.
Well, first of all gidam lar sera ngari oral alu so nga kumra alwa sa while al time both the face of tiel nga sa klaral, this is an appropriate time to implement the subsidy. That's why hindi kaliyal di of the subsidy all time. Sila nga rin crisis ay of the subsidy, and this is the appropriate time. Mang gadamle ato dugid maradro olbil. One of the problems that current la el ngilo olbil ngulotungi adekal alaw ra PPUC change our rate. Now nga rin debate tertilo ase hindi kan sabel. Hindi AG ase alla amal blakatak. Dim change rala di mo ang ngaramo kumrula la albay mo o libsong mga sangarigit. So akora aldadure lang awase proposer amendment no batise mo dokera subsidy may ma PUC collect tagel girel collect leng de kalsodan mada dengi egidu tel para trablul leng tos paangya sule rala dengi ngar. So those are the worrying. So hopefully alsan miyo deng April la radro bila o ba igating aram diri ala rogo im kada mirtir
tele at arala dengi I mean arala alu ada kadil affect ra bakal ramlay maybe anticipate to la siya ako next shipment ra klal maser ngaral murbela wa direct kal mo mas arala abtokal el tokoy ngari ako ra beside that take the fuel subsidy ang ani ako ra recommendation of labom ta suringil mo o help medicator siya lo kada mangilal mo matangalil wa siyang malwang arangi ko om dasul gire
gitsel dorul atuan dati dorul kaisa mrung mukta dosiga kada mrung atual make sure ara da bay tiar drang clear amran morbab, they're prepared and then they can adapt. So that's why in the past 5 years, yakam na increase ang dudirara. Why say minimum wage just this last year am namo $5. Kadam la increase government salaries another 10% to 10 lomer. And we've increased the subsidy. Tigil do southern im 480 lang 600. I guess will the return mo adra blue help tira wa gagidel el crisis and you know it's ngora ngora timing and legal refund mara what to ba igida albang artial crisis and digida ngar al sirela. Now going forward kodome sara laklalo and that's why all bill has to always be forward thinking. Nga umbral was minimum wage needs to continue to go up. Ideally, next October, another 75 cents. Following October, another 75 cents. So, assume they are proposing all bill, I'll propose it in the budget. Very umbral was egal raise our government, mangiral malmol. Then not only to arala adalong hindi rin kalsado make sure kita competitive marang lagi ng rekla blue belaw mesero sense ildi kier bela dakal root mo rekla blue bela le opportunity ang arte. So those are the two things rum muna lo saying going forward and said the law will help para other avenue.
Kodi soal follow up ti president lak alwi ng ngayon sel report del economic advisory group el mention ti lagi del wase aigal raise salaries nga sewa ablo oil di ding mas maara laklalo ang mas mangwabola ka sel mal ni uchiringi ba question na say ngaring ya ko das will gire la price control alu ngaring ya lady dolgas tel ara laklalo according to that reporting maklalo aududir ada ding mas mara ara laklalo obanggel marba panda kamal
Similar sa report.
Large report economic advisory group.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I disagree. A reality kita importa mostra klokle. So asel labor input klalo agegare. So umre sa udu de la en moklo molari na turist in mekmer de belaw. So a clol increase amora angel other outside and meso isbra ara blur belaw. Ya anggal other belam la increase buying power ni most rakal dola the import. So now they can afford what they're buying. So you have to look at kodome sa arangal tial economy wasing mukral impact other bel. Mukra mawira tangar other bel. So yes, ngari appointing mal moro mo dakal sedel affording, but measured and agumra lo sa report adim la kanam to kay wage increases that we've had. Tilal argument lo sa mas wages mas aralaklalo is only part of the equation. Ngir mo mas arangal tial to. Yes, mas aralaklalo trip hindi sel mlamo trip nga ipingel nga la tambay namo okrok. Namo dakal sa ligre wangaram.
My last question kay President tiale bato kay gagidel gora domestic issues gidel including rawa issues ra police gora drugs ngani kay kautel me report to say you were seeing more more actions sa gora drugs sa domestic ngani aklol amount ra drugs blam confiscate ngi but dire kalbato kay gel el bills ngar all bill el dire kal pending looking at reports ra ka gal American buil even last year looks like out of its month nga 10 days of its month kangarbela most of the time ka travel el bato kay gel meetings el boringil bato ka information el pomongot ado ringi malu ka mo most of the time nga niya roller ka I believe in those trips ma question as say ngaringi time sab legal lo morole mel mom kasay kawa handle like domestic issues, for example, maybe labil gire legal betul important bills el pending al ube. As it is now, umundas yung ay galom role maklo abe ani uchiring il mera blurbela as opposed to being present ra blurbela raklol temem. Comment. Sel question ang ako roundabout, but
Okay.
do you understand?
Kita kakaroon sa ngar alet. May say? Ngar alet, ulpira kalulal. Pasal na. May say? Kita amnadar sa wabingin del mong. Kita meter tir. But ultimately, a decision is their decision. May say? Abay question kasi, hindi ka mo kirarator ulbilo kasi nga hindi ka pasal na. That should be the question on Mortir. Gura masang om dase ngarela president el pasay galla ngarela la olbi el pasay galla. And yeah, maybe they need more time la do. So sen ngari opportunity agi ada do. And I had meetings with the Senate and my House this past 2 weeks. Ukti one-on-one meetings with them. And proud to tell the meter team. And they discuss issues. I know ukare issue appointment to our ministers, of course, olbilam le suri dra TCN. Ay ga dagal mlamre kay sira TCN moving forward our ministers basically they don't want to give them an opportunity to be voted on the proper way. This already denied till. We'll just move on. So I think at least I am not set aside. I'm willing to say let's just work on the problems. Other issues. So hopefully we're at a better stage now to just address issues. 4 bills in the last year is unacceptable. So kada helper til was sabele no session. Yulang alim. So to claim lo say because ngar omraling therefore the city mo already doesn't make sense to me. Mo gira the rule already lo say ram da already. Already. Alak ngartian mo da rule already la minister? No. Apart ng la president agirel el mo do ulam pera blur belaw. And of course au ulang klangas ang mara blur belaw. Kidel maral advocate mo do girela belwadara liukla blula. So that's part of our responsibility. So, sulang.
O mga aktilula sa last question hindi me sa Ambassador Australian ngatya. Mr. President, ngari budget na ato velgere sel embassy na kita mo ngira Australia. Alubeng chang ngari sel budget ra Ministry of State sa el gaber ay alak alwid ang gora ngaisel addendum.
Budget ra Australia. Awul ka nung appoint ra ambassador already ngari. So, ngaral sila tiyan mamre 2026 budget. There's a line Australian embassy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
That's good.
yes.
Sulara teale presidenta iliwisel memor pensaderi oya or melwa se limit ta question sur mo 1 or 2 before paper. I have a line of questions to ask hindi dia kata.
Sorry, harap mo. Kaba.
Kita question. Silver Hair Program. Ang at pangam lekot terbeludo siya utumal mora Silver Hair Program. Sengirel kere president.
So actually, Southern Sel elite visa. Kadalom tingin ko singari at tigil ng sang sel. And other Senate amla automatically revised the version. Mlamora House. So hopefully hindi mre del mem kadasay sige da dongiri. Another thing that I hope we saw that we're April, but hopefully hindi mre. Ngari other sorry apply sel elite visa, but it needs to be done. It needs to be amended. So
Again, storage Paris relal toreng si selwa seng maral me again within telang tarak nerura maral ngarngi lwa say tamo provide Australia or somebody got it tulul oy the president Mr. Lagol me ekdang mayo gere
dia part sa niya already malakman der velaw igen maklol klalo arrive ra endra April physically merbel
I see.
Ay gal, klalo amerbel.
Lately, hindi magmadadengi. Raul, hindi magmadadengi.
On the tila question of PUC, hindi ko ulit tila problem. Bimlak asker til me.
To relay, I can message the board.
Hindi ako sulang ha. Halak tira kan mo ko la PUC me lo singaram hindi makmadaling.
That's the question around. Another government, amoray galbering la aral conference room, you breakfast, you dinner, lola ba, udamar taxpayers. Since Emirates to the Memon Mortil was bring you lunch and drinks when you come so we can save some money.
Hindi ang malo, tila malungin. Otherwise,
The three other president.
okay. Why see?
Okay.
Okay. Another blue also nga tira man meetings.
I see. The kegi the president taga Ma'am Sula.
Okay. Sulang.
Mr. President, the last question coming, this last one. Kamle mentioner tegi del besel lultasura kegi del compacted the nuclear reactors. It was saying maybe we should look at that as additional option, like renewable energy. Ati domestic nga wanda issue marar el ara region ergi da siabala osi ka basel bolongoy ta nuclear waste ringi. Mang maybe lack of understanding ang ara tukora kaya tung compact nuclear generators. Hindi how is that wangara tukora waste kaya di prepack to energy malotoral mergi da bol ikat tamel maigel waste mal maraela. And how are we contributing el kuktire ka sub ka moraway kay de in almora to waste nuclear waste management ako wala ikan maklol reactor abul.
So, cell proposal or Sigid Bali, they do exactly that. Tungun, let's say, Tungun Merbela, with the installer, those period 20 years, the maintainer, and cell bomber got to move to similar to solar. Got the pay so much per kilowatt that the provider is kind of concept. Mundi kada masangara waste tree, tira un muram regale, with clear se luk
So follow up process tel project tra otekal nga malakayo. Is that also part of this energy? Is that going to be siyang mo o part tra energy renewable energy contribution lalo bang gukti something else?
Gala a challenge that we have with OTEC, a cost. Estimated tira 1 megawatt cost 35 million to install. So jaiga trigi del promise was by Fifth area at some point already over I guess 2 triple than brewery. So hopefully and that can be done. But we're only talking about 1 megawatt, aling one. We need 15. So it's and sell one minister katrabaho. So let's say 15 and you need 500 million to do to Belau. So right now solar is cheaper for that. So we have to do a combination. And this solar alone, that's an order. You need base load. Base load has to be either diesel or nuclear or some other stable energy source. It'll control it. Silsa, kasi may one of those challenges.
One last friendly question. Wangara the Louis Ligid, my other Miguel, since and we did honor my the fulfill the requested the asylum program. The Gil Gerse is Wangara working relationship with Gidmar Adram Miguel.
Well, akti, we'll spare an example or sell nature brigade Houston and help brigade at Tora aircraft registry. Amrigel Amral Omes was saying other Narayel baby at Teal, El Bella Seluk Margel, at help brigade El Moril Teal. So say example, took Nakasela, you help Belau. If you know about the compact Marshall Ablel help per at Tora shipping registry. Same now they get $15 to $20 million a year. You get a shipping registry. Let's help them at the journey aircraft registry. So, I think example sir uktulul ligid mamrigel ma their efforts to try and help rigid. Of course, ngarigel todo yun kasi tokor hospital. Bebera time kada chief of staff of mrigel ngara Hawaii. Kada wa trigibon mo uncomfortable ti highlighter bela gel was trouble amoit. But anyway, I think si Otis seruk tetinam rigel ko soal lo tiro sa gagida so man ngalak. But anyway, that's se di tetinam rigel. So sir talborega gida sa nangara yung nangara.
So in other words, we're okay with the United States government.
They're there and they're willing to help us again. Challenges again.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now that's why nga they'll get a pension. Kaya sa pension, the $20 million that they gave us for pension and another $6 million at TCN, kadamle kasi, ay ngal sang we need money. Okay. In fact, just a few days ago, last week, yaknara phone call of magel material staff. Kaya lang appropriations or foreign affairs or blue ramrigan. Both the Republican, ma Democrat. Kaya staff ra Lindsey Graham, ma staff ra Senator Schatz. Nesoril update ra sa hospital ng Girelger. How can we help? You know, of course, administration are already all do, so they want to make sure the Congress is on the same page. And so, yes, akampact ang ari. If you look at the history ng aramo, pwede yung akampact and that's it. Hindi ka ngovel extra. Ganda man nga sulam real, la open up to extra. And continues.
Ako natin concerned wala din ka pero siya invitation na President Trump and Mergao personally kasi gukmem da atong laman masara magmath.
Hindi ka ngidil help hindi ka bulol do Mr. President Trump. Isang important ngel adal Secretary Landau ngel mal to ka power la ngel ngora Pacific ngel mler belaw. And he's coming back to PIF. Engea leader girela tokora hospital mo. Ngariar adal. I know he's busy. Gidamal kigarel bloom so sometimes hindi ka temel masigit but maybe cell ball table free up lang. I'm sure tell my mother Irana is a big issue for him that he has to deal with. So. Okay? Sulang. Kasi ako talaga press conference kita within 1 hour. Amal lispidon mo dado. Okay. Adung tel dorang asulit tel adra government travel sales. Tira masyori de October sales tira el sales. So happy birthday. El mora ragok singeo. Gangara Bureau of Foreign Affairs. El mora la bilateral affairs. Diragal mora frangi alul ngara ARF operations ma dimla ka elang sorry nga dimla gisatel note so semle eli yaklugu dia tia March 26 tia mle eli 25 klugu so kada since dimla ka el sil 25 sorry kada tigil mle eli 24 that's interesting dimla ka imol la government el March 25th March 26 ngari are 3 4 5 ngari are 5 ngari Fabiana Yaro Fral ganur sa ngara MHHS dire ngari Vernie Niraget nga sensergi nga skura blilio Maria Russell Roman nga public war nga CIP Ashley Yada nga dire nga ARF nga MPII madire kafar werbalaw nga omugyat nga special assistant sa rigidra tokora hel damal mrenga sulir sel rendir masyura other belaw happy birthday tulngitra aklangal tangat mortir donita aklangal tangat morabek la other belaw ablo adra blur belaw ma 2 weeks from now Upado ka Swiss. Ano, umsula.